Back at Johnny Unitas Stadium for the fourth quarter of the second CAA semifinal between the Hofstra Pride and the Towson Tigers. Anthony Santaniello, Nick Valastro here with you as Fairfield leading 8-6 with 15 minutes to go. Nick, it's going to come down to the wire. What's going to be the key factor for both teams going forward?
Well, they lost possession in the third quarter, so Hofstra just needs to get control of the ball back end. For Fairfield, as long as they sustain enough pressure, just get it to Colin Burke, man. It seems pretty easy when you have a guy who has 5 points today and someone with 45 goals on the season.
Ball being fought for near midfield. It rolls all the way back towards Finn Sullivan. And Hofstra will get possession off a long face-off battle. They'll have it in their defensive zone. 10 seconds took off that clock. As Brian Von Bargen has to come all the way back and go for the clear for the Pride. So the Pride get the first possession of this fourth quarter. They scored with 6 seconds remaining on a Sam Linares goal to get it back to within 2. Alderman on the far side. Rolls to his right as Josh Byrne comes back up towards the midfield to receive the pass. Goes back to Alderman on the far side, now Linares. Linares out there with Kopecky and Byrne on the attack. Kopecky we saw with about a minute and a half remaining in the third quarter. His first action since leaving the UMass game with an injury. Alderman behind the cage for Linares. Spins towards the middle, gets into the crease, jumps in and rattles off the post, it looked like. Referees deciphering what just happened as Linares, it literally looked like he just jumped over the crease in trying to score a goal. And the Pride will actually get possession. I believe it was a penalty called on Fairfield. Maybe Linares got pushed and was in the action of shooting, but Hofstra will go what it looks like to another EMO chance, their first of the quarter and their fourth of the game.
And just looking at the replay from CATV here covering the tournament, it goes along to what you said, Anthony. Linares from the far side coming in towards the crease at a sharp angle, but it looks as if he got guided in that direction and fell into the crease, trying to avoid it. Gets Hofstra an EMO chance.
Linares, top of the slot. It's a 30-second EMO. There's 17 seconds remaining on it. Linares winds up, steps into a shot. It's saved by Bering. A low shot from the Pride captain. And Fairfield now goes for the clear. Trapped on the far sideline, but they are able to work it back towards midfield. Neubauer took a big hit from Finn Sullivan. Completely blindsided him. He's writhing in pain now on the far side, holding his ribs, walking very gingerly towards the middle of the slot. It'll be Nossman for Fairfield to Panapinto, back to Nossman. As the Stags kill off the EMO. Hofstra just 2 for 4 on the day on the extra man.
Rain picking up here at Towson. Really haven't seen it most of the game, but picked up at the end of the third quarter, now coming down a lot more now. Seeing a few players slip down into the turf. So the conditions will play a factor now in these final 12 minutes and 46 seconds.
Schneider, far side, top of the point. Works it back to Rodriguez, and now back to Schneider. Neubauer goes to Schneider. Now Rodriguez in front of Fairfield's bench. Rodriguez to Murray on the near side. Murray goes to Neubauer. Only one not to touch the ball in this possession is Colin Burke. Stall warning issued by the officials. Fairfield 25 to shoot. Going into the middle of the slot, a pass from Panapinto goes out of bounds, and the Pride will take over on the turnover. And the officials saying it actually got tipped. One official on the far side says it was tipped, so the Stags now keep possession with Colin Burke, 21 seconds on the shot clock. And a stoppage in play. The referee still signaling it was tipped, explaining to Seth Tierney and his staff. 17 on the shot clock. Fairfield holding a 2-goal lead. Neubauer, near side point, back up top to Rodriguez. And now Schneider, 10 on the clock. Schneider drives in with his right, works back to Burke behind the cage with 6 on the clock. Burke goes to Murray. Fairfield not looking for any sort of shot, as the shot clock was at 2 and then just reset. So maybe stall warning got turned off when the ball went out of bounds. Not really ever seen something like that before, but Fairfield keeps possession. Near side, Murray wanted to go for a pass to one of his midfielders, kind of slipped out of his stick. Tommy Vogel comes away with it for the Pride. Vogel goes back for Gomez, steps into a shot and scores. The trailer, Luke Gomez, coming from behind the play, brings it back to a one-goal game. It's 8-7, 11:19 remaining in the fourth quarter.
I've talked about how dangerous Hofstra is when they're in transition, and you see it there. They forced a turnover. Tommy Vogel sprinting into the midfield on the near side, lays it to the trailer, like you said, Anthony, to Luke Gomez, and buries it home, going low on Tyler Bering. For Gomez, his first goal of the season. Keeps Hofstra alive, down by one. Still 11:19 to go. And a big face-off coming up for the Pride.
Seth Tierney calls one of the hardest workers, if not the hardest worker on the team, Luke Gomez. Earned a starting job this offseason at that rope unit. Has really contributed a large part so far this season. Finally gets rewarded with the first goal of his career. Chris Clark on the face-off, comes away with it for the Pride. They have an offensive chance. Clark right in the middle of the slot, split leg save by Bering. What a job by the Fairfield goalie to kill any momentum that Hofstra had as Fairfield gets the clear.
Beautiful save. That's the save of the night, Anthony. Incredible stop. Able to get down low quickly to deny Clark. He had it set up for Hofstra to tie it immediately after the Gomez goal. Tyler Bering says,
Chris Clark it looked like he had Linares open for a split second. He faked a pass to the far side, giving him more room in the slot. It was essentially a one-on-one with him and Bering, but like you said, Nick, he's able to get the stick down low and make the save between his legs, and now Fairfield has a chance to move it back to a 2-goal lead with 10:30 remaining in the game.
That was a good goal by Clark to take the shot. He had enough space, and like you said, basically a one-on-one, even though he had Linares as an option. Still incredible work by Bering to get that. He has 13 saves.
A timeout called by Andy Copeland and the Fairfield Stags. 13 saves you mentioned by Tyler Bering. Jack Concannon's only had 12 shots on net. 13 shots on net. 8 have gone in for the Stags, and he's made 5 saves. So a battle of the two top goalies in the CAA, according to the committee last night, both on the first team, and both really showing up and keeping this a close game.
Yeah, and they're going to have to be relied on heavily through the next 10 minutes and 19 seconds because for Will Fox, he's trying to keep his team ahead, and for Jack Concannon, he's trying to keep Hofstra alive as much as possible. So he's going to have to make some big stops on the attack for Fairfield, and you couldn't really ask for a better matchup. We saw last week Concannon and Tyler White, who was the defensive player of the year before Finn Sullivan got the award, and Concannon coming up to the cause again today against another very good keeper in Bering.
Finn Sullivan, what you don't really speak of is how amazing his career has really been here at Hofstra. 3-time first-team All-CAA player, now gets rewarded with Defensive Player of the Year, and we've seen it tonight. He's made a couple of big plays to break up possessions and keep the passing lanes closed for Fairfield, and his presence is definitely going to be lost next year on that close defense, but for now, Hofstra really has to focus on these next 10 minutes and 19 seconds, trying to even the game up, if not win it in regulation and try to force overtime.
And there's a lot of players of this senior class that Hofstra will miss, whether it's their last game tonight or down the road on Saturday or even potentially in the NCAA tournament. A lot of big contributors from the senior class that Hofstra has.
Fairfield with possession out of the timeout. Working on the far side is Neubauer. Back to Burke. And now Murray. Murray goes to Burke right in the middle of the slot. His pass rolls all the way out towards midfield. Trevor Kopecki there to pick it up for the Pride and get them an extra possession. Here's Blom in transition, and he'll give it off to Josh Byrne. So another turnover by Fairfield that's keeping Hofstra right in this game, as Fairfield has dominated for the most part, but they're giving Hofstra extra possessions that they can't afford to give away.
12 turnovers by Fairfield so far today, and in the first matchup against Hofstra at James M. Stewart Stadium, they also caused or created more turnovers. Didn't burn them in that one, but it could potentially burn them when the spotlight is on.
Hendrickson to Linares, and now Byrne in the far corner. Byrne goes behind the cage, gets the long pull. Now back up top to Hendrickson. Hendrickson spins to his right, now goes to Kavanaugh, wrapping around the cage, he scores! Brendan Kavanaugh ties the game for the Pride. 9:02 remaining in this